After Amendment 3, the future of medical marijuana could be in lawmakers' hands. You're listening to The Wrap from Central Florida Public Media. I'm Brendan Byrne. Amendment 3 on the general election ballot would legalize marijuana for all adults 21 and older, and it would shake up Florida's current, highly regulated medical marijuana industry. It could affect the 2,400 doctors in that program, and patients will need to decide if they want to hold on to their medical marijuana card. In Melbourne, 69-year-old Anita Unrath supports Amendment 3 and says the medical program is worth saving.
As far as whether or not we'll keep paying the $400 a year for the doctor's appointments and the cards, I don't really know. We'll have to see how it works out.
It could come down to how the legislature implements the amendment if it passes. That's ahead on The Wrap, the big stories this week from Central Florida Public Media. But first, these news headlines. A 14-year-old boy in love with a character AI chatbot died by suicide earlier this year after telling the AI chatbot he was coming home to her. Now, as Central Florida Public Media's Joe Burns reports, the boy's mother, Megan Garcia, is suing the company and its founders, along with Alphabet and Google.
The federal lawsuit highlights the dangers of AI companionship apps for children. It says Sewell Setzer became addicted to character AI's sexualized relationships. The boy became withdrawn, sleep-deprived, depressed, and had trouble at school. His family sought counseling for him and took his cell phone away, but he found it and told the AI character he loved that he was coming home to her. "Please do, my sweet king," it replied. Garcia's attorney Matthew Bergman argues character AI should be banned for kids.
Megan is singularly focused on preventing this from happening to other families and saving kids like her son from the fate that befell him. This is not lashing out. This is outrage that such a dangerous product is just unleashed on the public.
A statement by Character AI says they are, quote, heartbroken by the tragic loss, and lists new safety measures added in the past 6 months. Joe Burns, Central Florida Public Media.
If you or someone you know may be considering suicide or is in crisis, call or text 988 to reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. As early voting continues, both sides of Amendment 4, the abortion rights ballot measure, are making final pushes to sway voters. Dr. Allison Bradley Amore is an OBGYN in Orlando. She says Florida's abortion ban is endangering her patients who either can't get a necessary abortion after finding out they're pregnant beyond the ban's 6-week mark, or she's losing precious time while asking for permission to treat a patient.
And having to ask for permission to do your job, fill out a form, ask another physician to co-sign it. These are minutes, hours, days in which a woman could lose her uterus and never be able to have children, or lose her life.
Governor Ron DeSantis has been touring the state pushing against Amendment 4, calling it dangerous. The governor calls the ballot measure vague and dishonest.
They don't define any terms. They don't tell you they're taking away parental consent. They don't tell you that non-physicians are going to be able to greenlight abortions up till birth. They don't tell you they're going to sue to try to get taxpayer-funded abortions if it passed.
Public health experts say the amendment would eliminate parental consent but retains parental notification prior to an abortion procedure. The amendment would also expand who could give an abortion from solely physicians to healthcare providers such as physician assistants and nursing practitioners. Florida amendments require 60% voter approval in order to pass. Orlando, Oviedo, and Deltona join other Central Florida municipalities and counties opting out of the Live Local Act. The 2023 law provides large tax exemptions of up to 75% to developers who build and keep at least 70 affordable housing units for certain renters. Aimed at aiding the affordable housing crisis, local governments say that builders are the only ones benefiting. Critics say the law has no provisions ensuring builders pass savings on to renters, and it allows them to charge rents at 90% of the market value. Oviedo Council member Natalie Tushert.
I think the label's misleading. This is not providing missing middle tax exemption. This is a tax exemption for luxury apartments. So we're not actually helping the people. It says it's helping. We're helping luxury apartment developers. So
Seminole and Osceola counties also opted out of the law earlier this year. Orange County may join them next week. More local news stories on our website. Visit cfpublic.org. In unincorporated Volusia County, some rural residents are still wading through water after Hurricane Milton flooded their roads and homes more than 2 weeks ago.
This is way past sad. This is despair.
Now residents are asking their local governments to stop new development. The latest in our continuing coverage of Hurricane Milton. Listen to new episodes of our podcast, Seen and Heard. Get it wherever you get this podcast. The medical marijuana program in Florida is the largest in the U.S. For many of the 100,000 plus seniors in that program, it's about reducing pain or anxiety or helping them sleep. Amendment 3 on the general election ballot would legalize marijuana for all adults 21 and older, and it would shake up the current, highly regulated system. Central Florida Public Media reporter Joe Burns takes a look at what it might mean for the more than 882,000 Floridians with a medical marijuana card.
Tom Unrath is a retired Air Force chaplain and Lutheran pastor living with multiple sclerosis. It causes significant pain, but a cannabis chew he takes at night helps with that.
It's not so much a fun thing, but it's a helpful thing. It helps me to feel better and thus have a better quality of life.
Unrath's wife, Anita, is a retired school teacher. She uses a cannabis cream for arthritic knees, plus the soft chew and things like capsules and lozenges.
They won't make you high because they have the CBD and the THC in them. So at 69, we are not at all interested in getting high.
CBD and THC are two of the compounds in marijuana. The THC makes you high. The Unraths support Amendment 3. They also say the medical program is worth saving, that people with serious conditions will need advice on drug interactions. But they aren't sure they'll keep the card themselves. It could depend on how the legislature implements Amendment 3 if it passes. For instance, will a steep tax on recreational weed create a financial incentive to keep the medical card so they can get their marijuana tax-free? And will they need the medical program to get the products they use?
As far as whether or not we'll keep the, paying the $400 a year for the doctor's appointments and the cards, I don't really know. We'll have to see how it works out.
That's $400 apiece. Aaron Bloom runs Doc MJ, a medical marijuana practice with offices throughout Florida. Doc MJ surveyed patients about the amendment. 74% were in favor of it, 10% were opposed, and the rest were unsure. Their top concern is continued access at affordable prices to the products that give them relief.
The legislature needs to put guardrails around the medical program so that the licensees do not forget and do not fail to provide the medicine that the Florida patients need.
At Curaleaf, which operates 66 dispensaries in Florida, Kareem Bouaziz says they're preparing to meet the soaring demand and lessen the upward pressure on prices.
I think a lot of groups will take the more short-sighted approach and they will chase the higher margin, higher volume products.
But Bouaziz says Curaleaf has no plan to drop the products like topicals and tinctures that medical customers want. The National Conference of State Legislatures says recreational marijuana is legal already in 24 states, 2 territories in the District of Columbia. Now the federal government is looking to reclassify it from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 drug, which would open up research, tax benefits, and banking. In Florida, one industry journal says passage of Amendment 3 would create a booming market worth $4.9 to $6.1 billion in the first year.
Should it become recreational, estimates suggest there are probably between 9 and 15 million potential customers.
That's Jeffrey Sharkey with the Medical Marijuana Business Association of Florida. It'll be a massive experiment, he says. The business model for Florida's medical marijuana program would change. But would it survive? Would the legislature protect it?
And the physicians have to advocate for the value of that as a policy, right? And I know they will.
Sharkey believes it can be regulated to complement recreational use. Joe Burns, Central Florida Public Media.
That's it for the wrap this week. More election coverage on our website, including our voter guide. Visit cfpublic.org. This podcast is produced by Central Florida Public Media with assistance from News Director LaToya Dennis and Digital Director Ryan Ellison. I'm Brendan Byrne. This is The Wrap.